The Appalachian Mountains are known for three things: forested mountains, bluegrass music, and coal mining.
Since the 1970s, a controversial coal mining practice known as mountaintop removal spread across the Appalachian region of the United States.
Using explosives, mountaintops are blasted away to expose coal seams, flattening peaks into gray circles of arid land, destroying the water supply and terrain for plants and wildlife.
I'm Juliana Schatz in eastern Kentucky, where a grassroots organization is revitalizing these highland habitats.
For 14 years, Susan Lapis has been giving free plane rides to those who want to see the scale of mountaintop removal.
Look at that. We already see a little bit over there, that former mining site.
Yeah, I think these are all active.
Oh, these are still active sites.
Oh, yeah, no. Every once in a while, there'll be a big afternoon blast.
There's such a contrast here. There's these beautiful dense forests and then moonscape like land.
You know, we could fly over all of Kentucky and over all of southern West Virginia until we ran out of gas 4 hours from now, and you would never run out of mines.
Susan flies everyone, from politicians to celebrities, but often it's local miners who get emotional during flights.
They don't like to see their homeland blasted to bits, but at the same time, it's the old jobs versus the environment argument where it's big money for Kentucky.
Forestry professor Chris Barton runs Green Forest Works, an organization that hopes to reforest all the old mine sites.
No, this is representative of a pretty typical large surface mine that we would find in eastern Kentucky.
This is what mountaintop removal is. I mean, this is still an active site. I mean, we've just heard an explosion. They're still actively hauling off coal.
Under the 1977 Reclamation Act, when companies finish mining, they are only obliged to reshape the blown-up mountains to prevent rock slides and then seed them with grass. However, the conventional reshaping process packs the soil so tightly that it resembles concrete. Dr. Barton aims to change this practice. Otherwise, it would take hundreds of years for trees or any other life to return.
It's pretty barren here. I mean, how is this sustain any vegetation?
That's where we have to interject to figure out ways that we can sort of mitigate the compaction that's associated with this land, how we can alter the soils so that a forest can actually regrow on this site.
Mountaintop removal affects nearly 1.5 million acres of the Appalachian region. It would take about 1 billion trees to replant an area so vast. The first and most important step is seed harvesting. Ninth-generation Appalachian Nathan Hall oversees this part of the project.
It's amazing how well these trees will do on land that's been ripped up, because basically they just need a good seedbed to get their roots down into. What may look inhospitable to us is actually really good for trees because you have rocks that are decomposing, so there's a lot of minerals that are available to them. And a lot of these trees are actually adapted to sites that have been disturbed.
These aren't any old seedlings. Nathan chooses them for their specific role in reforestation. Called pioneer species, because they are the first plants on a site, adding organic matter and nitrogen to the soil and beginning the ecological recovery.
So I wanted to bring you to a brand new, fresh reforestation site. We just got Jimbo, our dozer contractor, over here about 2 days ago.
He's out there in the distance.
Yeah, he's ripping up about 30 acres of mountaintop removal mined land. He's got a big D8 sized dozer with a 4-foot ripper shank on the back, and it's just it's like a giant steel claw that just sinks into the ground and busts everything up so the tree roots.
Ripping up all that concrete, compacted lands? Okay.
It's Jimbo Hamilton's job to till the soil so that the seedlings can break through.
Hey guys!
Hey Jimbo, how are you?
Just fine.
Can I come up?
Yes, ma'am.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How long have you lived in this area?
I've lived in this area for 47 years.
Is that how old you are?
That's how old I am. And so I've been around the surface mining industry as far as during the days of the late 60s, early 70s, all the way to the Reclamation Act, to where all this right here started coming into play.
Wow.
So I've seen it change faces 3 different times.
So Jimbo, can you give me a sense of what this place used to look like before surface mining when you were a kid?
The terrain is very steep, and it was full of just giant timber. And then when you got to the top, it's just giant rock cliffs. It provided a lot at that time, but still is very hard to work. We're just now getting started, so we've got a lot of work to do.
So we should get to it.
So we should get to it.
Okay.
Without Jimbo's help, only about 10% of the trees planted here would survive.
So we have a tree in front of us. Does that matter?
This specimen don't. It's an Alamana, which is an unwelcome specimen of this region.
Right.
So we take those out.
Doze it over.
Doze it over.
To the naked eye, we're just tearing up, ripping up some land, but what's the greater ecological importance of what you're doing?
We're improving the land that once upon a time was very fertile ground. Then after we had surface mined everything, the ground is not that good of quality. So now, not only are we improving the quality of the land, but the environment for humanity as well.
The first time this whole process was performed 16 years ago, Dr. Barton doubted it would work.
Dr. Graves actually set up this experiment, but I was out here with a class that I was teaching, and we looked at it right after they planted it, and I was like, these trees don't have a chance.
Oh my gosh.
Because it looked so, it was like a moonscape. Then they planted these poor little trees in, and I didn't think there was a way that they would succeed. And every year since then, I've been back and look at it now. It's just unbelievable that this has turned into a productive forest.
The experimental forest is just beginning to demonstrate its full potential. Just an hour away, Robinson Forest, which used to be a bleak logging site, shows what true reforestation can look like 100 years down the road.
This area is actually surrounded by coal mines, but one of the interesting things that this site provides is sort of a reference to what these areas may have looked like prior to the mining.
So this is kind of like your control in an experiment.
Exactly. So if we could bring it back to conditions like this, both with regards to the trees, with regards to the water chemistry, with regards even to the bugs that live in those streams, that would be our ideal goal for any type of restoration or reclamation project we're working on.
When a site is fully reforested, the entire ecosystem is revitalized: the water, the vegetation, and the wildlife. Essentially, Dr. Barton's team provides the template, and nature fills in the rest.
I've had guys that I've worked with said, you know, hi, you're going green just like the rest of the world, you know. But people need to quit drawing a line in the sand. Get rid of the lines in the sand, come together, figure out what's best for our future generations.